What's up, folks? It's your boy DT 2.0, and today we're going off the beaten path. We have something in here that's not as common as a normal gaming laptop, because to get it, you have to trust what you see online and in reviews on their site, and then have some faith in it. Today we have the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro, and this is the consumer review. Now, one thing I like about Lenovo and their Legion line is the ordering process. They either have these mugs in stock or they don't. I got lucky and ordered this in a small window of opportunity, and I literally got it 3 days later. And I think it was 2 because I had express shipping. It came at the same time as my Alienware M15R5, which I ordered 2 weeks prior. I like that about this line and about Lenovo period, because it was the same way when I ordered the Legion 7i last year. And if you don't know, I had some issues with that. So I guess it ruined the trust between me and Lenovo. Because when I got the 7i last year, I found a bright spot in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. I called them to see if I can get it fixed, and they informed me that bright spots were not covered. Go figure that. Just dead pixels. Luckily, I was still in the return period, so I didn't sweat it. I returned it, and I never trusted them again to order another one. I just didn't want to take a chance. Now, with the promotion and the Pro line being out, I'm back, and I have to tell you, I'm a little impressed. Now, before I get into this review, I have to state my usual disclaimer for the new viewers that are out there, so they can know what to expect out of this review, right? This is a consumer review, so if you're looking for an in-depth technical review, it's not happening here. I'm just giving you the perspective or opinion from the consumer, me, or myself, who may or may not be experienced with dealing with computers. When all you want to know is, hey, when I get this mug home, is it going to work like it's supposed to? Is it going to play the games I like to play with little to no issues? Because we know no laptop is perfect. Is it going to perform like I want it to perform? And with that, I'll give you my likes, my dislikes, my concerns, and my recommendation. Throw in a little, let me get the little Salt Bay, throw in a little performance in comparison to add just a tad bit value, because I'm just as interested in y'all in the performance, just not the deep technical performance values. Is this thing the keeper, or is it going back? Let's get into the specs. Now, this thing sports the Ryzen 7 5800H, 16 gigabytes of RAM at 3200 megahertz, two 1 terabyte SSDs. So you get 2 total terabytes right off the bat. The RTX 3070 at 140 watts max power, a 16-inch, and you may not see it because of the viewing angle and the cheap camera that I have right now, but 16 inches, 2560 by 1600, so it's a little bit larger than 1400p, 165 hertz IPS display at 500 nits. Yes, 500 nits. It's not that bright now because I have it unplugged, so it's not going to put out the max brightness, but hey, this thing will burn your retinas if you turn it all the way up and there's a white screen in the background. Anyway, total price of this was just a tad over $2,100 after taxes and delivery. So in my opinion, I think they got the price right for the performance that you get out of this, and you'll see that later. Now, looking at this thing physically, you can see that this is a big boy. It is not thin. Like the Alienware X or M line, this is a grown-up laptop with junk in the trunk, which I don't mind. It has some heft too, so be mindful of that. It definitely feels heavier than my M15R5, but not by much. Since it is a little thicker, in my opinion, it doesn't feel as solid, but yet I have the confidence in this build construction. The screen flex, if we look at it here, is a little more stiff than the M15R5 that I have. So again, the trust between me and Lenovo is slowly getting built back up. Slowly, very, very slowly. And that's all I have to say about that. But looking at this thing from the left side, you have a USB-C and a microphone headphone combo jack. On the right side, and you see I have a cheap ass mouse dongle in there, a USB-A port, and then something that confused me at first, but this is actually the camera switch to turn it on and off. So it's a little ways away from the camera. So instead of them just putting a switch up there to cover the camera up, here you just have to trust them. I don't know about that the camera is turned off when you hit that switch. I don't know about that. In the rear, or what I like to call the junk in the trunk, we have a bevy of ports with, are you listening, Dell, Alienware? No space wasted. None. You have an Ethernet port. You have a USB-C port with power delivery, two USB-A ports, HDMI, another USB-A port, and then there, what I think is proprietary power jack. So, and two large vents in the back, which reminds me of the Alienwares. No RGB elements on this one. The good thing about this, or the thing that I like about it, is this year you got that Trinity symbol, that Kobe symbol. I really like that they just, all right, they redesigned the line, because last year they had Lenovo on the Legion 7i, they had Lenovo written on a patch here, and they had this symbol inside of the O, and it looked cheesy as hell. I'm not gonna even lie. But this year they just got it right. They still put Lenovo on the little tab right here, as you can see. But again, they added that tree. You can barely see. There it is. If you hit it with the right light. But they added that, what I'm gonna call the Trinity symbol. I don't know what they call it, but I really like it. And again, it looks like the Trinity from Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or any of the Tomb Raider line, or the Kobe symbol without the thing that goes around it. That's what I call it. So, well, I'll speak on that later. Looking at it overall, as you can see, I'm not picking this thing up. I'm kind of dragging it around. It's not small, but I do like the size, the design, and the color. It's not black, but that only means it doesn't show fingerprints as bad as, say, the M15 R5 that I had in here that y'all saw if you didn't watch that review, or the Razer, which is probably the worst in the business. You can see a few fingerprints on here, but they're not bad. You really have to hold it up. The light's making it look worse than what it actually is, because right here in the studio, could we call this a studio? In the studio, yeah, it's not as bad as it looks. Unlike the M15 though, I'm about to rip them a little bit. Let me unlock this. Unlike the M15, they do put some promotion stickers on here, which I don't like on any laptop. Put that junk in the box and not on my laptop. And if you do, make sure you align these stickers evenly. Now, these aren't as bad as, say, the Asus stickers that I had in here, but do I really need all of that on here? Maybe this one, which gives you some directions on how to change the performance modes, right? But and make it easily peeled off. But these, do I really need those? No, I don't need those, right? I don't need those. I'll speak on those later. Anyway, let's stay on track. I won't get too far into it, and get to what y'all been waiting for: my likes, my dislikes, performance concerns, and my recommendations. So let's get into it. Like number one, the display. And I know what y'all saying. Well, he always starts off with the display. Look, if the display is hidden, because it's the first thing you see when you open this laptop up, guess what? If it's hidden and it's tight, I'm gonna give it props. It's gonna be because it's the first thing I see, so I must give it the first love, or in this instance, like. No, it's not 240. No, it's not 300. Or that buttery, I can't believe it's not butter, 360 hertz display on the M15 R5, but this still fits the bill. And plus, it's 2560 by 1600. So I understand why it's only 165 hertz, because it probably would have costed more. It's crisp. It's definitely bright at 500 nits, and the colors do pop because of that brightness. It makes this wallpaper that I have in here. Now, this wallpaper is the bomb, right? I don't know what they call it, but it was just already installed on the laptop when I powered it up or when I set it up. But I like that design. I don't know about you. It looks better than what it's looking like on the camera. In person, it looks really good. Anyway, this blue really snaps with the blue on the keyboard. It just goes together. I'm just saying. I like the fact that they have a thin chin down here, right? Not a thick beard like you have some on some other laptops. No, I'm not calling out no names. Obviously, it's like that because this is a 16-inch screen, and he probably had to make this design decision to keep this laptop in a 16-inch, closer to 15-inch size than bringing it closer to a 17-inch laptop size. And I think that was a good decision. If you can look, it's Legion written in black. It's just embossed in there. Oh, it's raised. It's raised in there. And good. They didn't try to blow your eyes out with that. They just have a tab here. But, you know, all these different color stickers getting on my damn nerves. Overall, it's a great screen. So don't be put off by it not being anything over 200 hertz. Most games you play will never get to those frames anyway with a mobile 3070, no matter how much power it's putting out. And that's just me being real. Like number 2, the design. This, the GE66, the Alienware M and X line, all share a little bit of the same design base, right? When you look at, I'm gonna kill this thing. When you're looking at it from the side, I like the fact that it has this junk in the trunk right here, this extra lip in the back, so you can have those ports in the back to make it look clean, right? So I really like that. I like the I'm gonna keep calling it the Kobe symbol. Let's call it I like the Kobe symbol in the back. I like the big exhaust vents, right? The only thing that this thing doesn't have, and it's understandable because of the tier that it's in, is the RGB elements other than the keyboard. That's it. That's it. So I don't mind that because again, you kind of get what you pay for in the long run. You know, let me get that straight back up on there. This one, in my opinion, as far as design and look, sits in between the MSI and the Alienware because they did put the Legion symbol on the hood, where MSI does also, but MSI's doesn't light up, which I think that Dragon would look fire if they did put a light in it, and no pun intended. Anyway, they did have that cheap, the MSI did have that cheap light bar in the front, which it was okay, but I think it was just tacked on. They could have just kept it off. But here, I just like those designs where they put the ports in the rear overall. It makes it look clean while it's sitting on a desk because you won't have to have your main cables sticking out of the side. And what I mean by main cable is your power cable. If you have a wired mouse or a wired keyboard that you can have those in the rear and not pulling out the side. Even headphones or audio, audio AD converters, any of that stuff, you can just have it hanging out the plaque. And this one has 3 USB-A ports in the rear, right? The USB-C ports back there, and also you got one right here. Anyway, unlike the M15R5, they wasted no space in the rear, and I have to give them props for that. I have to. 4 USB-A ports, and most of them are in the rear. That's the perfect spot for them. The hinge does feel sturdy, right? And we talked about screen flex, but the hinge does feel sturdy. It's quiet. I have a little bit of confidence in it, but I did hear that. I'd probably just confuse the hell out of the computer. All right, we back. It just went to sleep on me because I did that with the screen. Anyway, the hinge does feel sturdy, even though I have heard that earlier models, the 7i, for instance, had hinge issues where it was breaking at the bottom. But this one just feels solid. And spoiler alert, because this thing is not compact, it does have a little bit more space in the inside for airflow, so it does stay quite cool, and we'll talk about that later. Like number 3, the keyboard. I can't lie, I was in love with what they call the True Strike keyboard, and that's what this keyboard is also. They called it that on the last year's 7i. It's this also on this one, they're calling it that. It was on par, in my opinion, with the M15, the Alienware M15 line, just a tad bit softer. I have gotten used to it after typing this review, and I have to say it's extremely, extremely quiet. Maybe even too quiet to a certain degree. It is a little bit spongy. I'd like to see a little bit more resistance, but that may be because my fingers got a little bit of muscle in them from using that M15 Cherry MX low-profile keyboard where you have to really hammer down on them. Which, again, I like that keyboard also. I'm not dumping on them. The lighting here it's okay. It's not great, and I've seen worse, but the lighting here is just okay, right? This is not a per key keyboard. I don't know if I said that before. This is a 4-zone keyboard, right? And we already know 4-zone on Alienware laptops, nasty. It's just not good. This one, at least they put the lights under a keyboard that was already decent. Again, they probably save all of that specialness, let's call it specialness, for the 7 series to give you an incentive to move up to there. So again, I'm not dumping on them, but I got to give them props for that because they do give you a lot of stuff. with this keyboard, including this number pad. But at the same time, they reserve the extra stuff like the RGB lights in the front and then in the rear that goes along with the keyboard for the 7 line. And some may not like this, but I actually like the number pad here. It's a little compacted, right? It's a little mushed, like it was stuffed in there, but not so much stuffed in there. Even though it shifts the keyboard over a little bit and the trackpad over a little bit so you're not centered while you're typing, but I don't mind that. If I'm doing an Excel spreadsheet like I normally do, it's probably most of the things I'm probably doing some geek shit. I'll probably use these numbers over here just as much as I'm using these number pads. So it's a win for me. So props to the keyboard, a definite like. Like number 4, yeah, this list is getting long, but I have to give them a shout out for the price. Yes, it was over $2,000, over $2,100 to be exact. But look at what you get for that price. A Ryzen 7 5000 series, which is nothing to sniff at, 16 gigabytes of RAM, which you can save money and upgrade yourself, a 3070 that's not necessarily underpowered, which we'll get into that in a few, 2 1 terabyte SSD drives. So they ain't trying to give me one and then stab me in the chest and try to upsell me when I try to do another one or try to get another one. Dell, I'm looking at you. The 16-inch high resolution display at 500 nits, ports out the yang, most located in the rear where I like them. Need I say more? The performance, as you'll see, is great. So this thing is extremely competitively priced. It's just not as popular as the other brands. You can't find them on store shelves, so it's going to take some marketing muscle to get them out in the streets. Even Alienware has some cheaper versions of their computers or their M15 line, and they also list the X series cheaper versions of those on Best Buy's site, coming soon for sale. These don't. Lenovo hasn't gotten there yet, or they haven't made that decision yet. Right? Maybe they don't trust that they'll sell. Who knows? I don't know what they're going through. But I think they started overall on the right foot, especially with the announcement. They came out with a nice video that showed that they're changing. It was informative, a little bit motivating, got me a little bit excited about getting this. It just took too damn long to come out. Right? They announced it like 3 or 4 months ago, and I was just able to get one. Plus, it must be working because this thing is sold out right now. So that says something. If you get this, you won't feel bad about the price you paid. Just know that. Like number 5 and my final like is the temperatures. And a lot of folks ask me about the temperatures, right? And everybody, look, with temperatures, everybody's going to have a different experience overall, right? It just depends on how you push these machines. For the games I play, like Red Dead, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Madden, NBA 2K, Neo 2, and I just downloaded that Ninja Gaiden, which shouldn't kill it. Each time I gamed, it was for a few hours, and the surface temps never got hot, just warm. Even the keyboard was just slightly warm. I really had to check to make sure that this thing was actually not using the integrated graphics card, because it just did not get hot for some reason. Now I can give it to the size, and then the size of the vents, the fans, and all of that, and I can see why it runs cool for the most part. But when it runs cool like that, it gives me a secure feeling while gaming for long hours that the surface is just a little warm. The fans do get up there, but they're nowhere near Alienware status. Let's just put that out there right now. They're nowhere near. It's acceptable, but no whine. And let me just talk about the fans for a minute, right? On some games I played, they wouldn't even kick up. So it's a smart fan. You can set Alienware's keyboard or in the command center up to where, hey, as soon as I power up this game, go all out and go into high performance mode, and the fans will keep rolling until you turn it off or until you shut the game down. With this one, the fans adjust on the fly, and I thought it was malfunctioning, right? For example, on some games I played, it wouldn't just kick up and keep going. I could hear them constantly adjust to what I was doing. If I was watching YouTube or surfing like now, they did nothing, right? They're on a little bit. I can hear it just a little bit. But if I was playing a game, they'll kick up. But if the game went to a cutscene, they will roll down. So good I guess, software or programming inside of here to control the fans to where they're not just turning and burning for no reason, right? It's a little bit smarter than the average fan, and that's good. I like that because I don't need to have fans blaring, even though they don't bother me, and I said it before, but I don't need to have fans blaring 180, at 180 decibels all out while I'm playing the game. Nah, here they adjust on the fly, and that's props I have to give them. Temps, a definite and important like, might I add. Now, that's all for my likes, and there's plenty of other things to like about this laptop, but I try to keep the list short so my reviews can be under an hour. They run long, yeah, but y'all know I like to BS with y'all. Anyway, let's get to my unfortunates or dislikes. And my number one dislike is the trackpad. It's the same as the Legion 7i I had last year, and it was just trash. Now, don't get me wrong, it is responsive. So if I open something up, and I always do the run-of-the-mill test. I don't want to track tit. But it is responsive, as you can see, but it just feels cheap. It's not as smooth as I like, and you can hear my hand. Make me feel like I got some dry ass hands. It isn't as smooth as I like it. It's set in there unevenly, so I don't know if you can see that. It's just set in there. It dips in, but I can feel that one side is in there deeper than the other one, right? Like this side is deeper than this one. Is that a design? I don't think it's designed because this side is kind of loose when I tap it, right? Yeah, I can see it moving. So no, it's not a design thing. They didn't do it on purpose. And don't let them tell you that either. Anyway, and when I tap it sometimes, it just feels like there's a tiny gap in between when I tap it and when it actually... You hear that? I don't like that. It gets worse as you go down. Hear that? Nah, that's a no for me, dog. That's a no for me. So trackpad, or I guess we can rename this to trash pad. Don't use it. I'd rather use this cheap gearhead mouse that I found laying in here, just so I can get some work done. It's not even working. Do I have it on? Oh, the battery must have ran out. Anyway, yeah, just get you a mouse so you can do some work on here. Don't use a trackpad if it gets on your nerves, if you're sensitive to bad trackpads. Dislike number one. Dislike number two, no Windows Hello. I thought they could have at least put an IR sensor up here by the camera because there is some room there. I think I can see the mic up there. You can also see two mics down here also. But I thought they could have put two IR sensors next to the camera. How hard or how much could that be? I don't know. I get it. They probably kept the cost down, which I'm okay with. But I'm sure it would have been way cheaper than, say, a fingerprint reader. Now, I do forgive them a little because if I created a pin like I did, like you guys see me when I'm on here, the number pad is just as easy over here to type in and open and log in, right? It's just as fast. No, nah, just a tad bit slower than logging in with Windows Hello. But yeah, I'm nitpicking, but it is what it is. No Windows Hello feature, but hey, look, Asus, at least they get a camera. And dislike number three, and my final dislike, is the stickers. And I said it before in the intro. Take these stickers off my $2,000 laptop. Put them in a box, even put them on a little sticker holder thing, and then let us decide if we want them or not. Right? Let us decide if we want to place them on the computer or not. Look, every gamer that's searching for a gaming laptop do not need stickers to show what's in the inside. They've already done the research, so they know what's in the inside. They didn't do that for the consumer. They did it for themselves. They did it for Lenovo. They did it for free advertisements. And it's not just Lenovo. Don't get me wrong. It's not just Lenovo because you guys have seen me review an Asus computer and it had the same thing, right? And even if you don't buy gaming computers and you go to Best Buy or whatever and look at some, all of them have some sort of stickers on them. So it's not just Lenovo. It's any company out there that does this, right? Just go to a car dealership and purchase a car and you'll either get one or two things. You'll get a license plate frame with the company name on it, or wait for it, some damn stickers that's hard as hell to take off that they put right next to the car make or model in the back of in the back of the vehicle. You don't believe me? Next time, look at your car, or when you're driving on the street, look at the back of somebody else's car and see if you can tell where they get it from. Because I know CarMax is notorious for doing that. But that's just what companies do, right? And I get it. But again, if you, at least when the car companies do it, it's straight and not crooked, right? I'm nitpicking, but still, if you're gonna put some damn stickers on my $2,000 computer, make sure they're straight. Make sure they're straight. Now, that's all for my dislikes, but I do have a just okay. I'm just putting some just okays in here, right? And that's my first just okay, and let me get ready to pull it up, is the speakers. They're just okay. They're not gonna blow the doors off, but I think that they are about the same as the M15R5. They are made by the same folks, or they're advertised by the same folks, or at least Lenovo is advertising that Nahimic, whatever the name of that company is, which is the same folks that made the MSI GE66 speakers, but they don't sound that bad. They don't sound like a bunch of mice inside the computer screaming, trying to relay music or words to you. Now, I did dump on the R5 speakers, right? And I'm not dumping on these speakers, but I'm also not giving it props. But I only dumped on the R5 speakers because they changed the quality from the R3 to R4 and R4 models to something worse. Well, Lenovo, this is on par with the category that it's in, with the tier that it's in. Again, so with these, I won't dump on them because the price goes along with the expectation of speaker performance. They are decent, just not decent enough for me to either like or dislike, right? So if you want me to play something, I'll go to my usual, I won't show it, chill hip hop radio. I go there frequently to get some relaxing music, especially when I'm editing. I'm not advertising for them, and nobody's paying me. But anyway, I'll play a little bit and just let y'all hear and let you make a decision. I know it's not going to relay well, but hey, it is what it is. All right, before I get a copyright hit, I gave you a little bit. Now you know how the speakers sound. Again, not as bad. They do get up there. I'm an audiophile, so I'm a nitpick on speakers all the time. You see, I got THS Logitech speakers here with the big bass module. I bought those years ago. It is, I got the Focusrite audio interface, SCARTA 6.6 audio interface there. I got 2 event studio monitors in here. If y'all didn't know, I am on location, and what I mean by location, I'm actually at my real house. And this is probably where I'm gonna start doing videos once I retire and able to come and be here permanently. Anyway, speakers, just okay. Another just okay is the battery life, because I know folks ask me about battery life all the time. Hey, what's the battery life like? Y'all know how I feel about battery life. I don't care about battery life, but for this one, because people have been waiting on this review, I actually tested the battery on this thing, right? I mean, I actually put it to the test and not just went off of what the company said. I let this thing run with YouTube videos and did some surfing, but no gaming, because I don't game because I don't game on laptops that are not plugged in because the performance sucks, right? But it lasted about 3.5 hours. When I went to recharge it, it warned me at 8% that I needed to recharge it. When I went to recharge it, it took about 1.5 to 2 hours to get it back to 100%. So for those that need that question answered, you're welcome. And my final just okay is their version of I guess we can call them command centers. The software that Alienware calls the Alienware Command Center, MSI I think calls it Dragon Center, ASUS calls it Armory Crate, Lenovo calls theirs, wait for it, Vantage. Yeah. Now, this is not a mandatory feature. I get it. But if you're going to do it, Lenovo, do it without BSing with us, right? To me, it's just oversimplified, right? Compared to those other ones, right? I'm just comparing those to the other ones that had way more information in them than this. This is just, hey, GPU, CPU, what they're operating at. Here's how much RAM you're using. Here's how much of your hard drive you use. Hey, you want to change the thermal mode? There it is. And then a couple of other things on here, but that's about it. There is a rapid charge option, and I didn't use that when I recharged this thing. So maybe that'll help charge it faster if you need it in an instance, or if you need juice in an instance. But this is all you get. Lighting. They didn't even call this nothing special, right? Just lighting. You can customize the lighting, and then you can have the divide on where it's 4-zone, and then you can have the divide off, and then set different profiles that you can turn off and on, and then control the brightness of it. But that's it. It does do like breathing, smooth, wave right, wave left. They do different things, but again, the keyboard is just okay. It's a 4-zoner. So, but they just give you basic information here. No temps, no fan speed, nothing, right? So it's just extremely oversimplified. And again, I can't beat them up, but at least they gave you something, right? So that's why it's just an okay. It's just an okay. The thing I mainly use this thing for, which was to change the performance mode, but you can do that if you look at this big sticker on here. All you have to use is function Q to change the performance mode, and it'll get you there. So you really don't, I really don't need to open this thing up. Now there is network boost, auto close, hybrid mode, overdrive, and touchpad lock. But all of those, they give you all of these, and it didn't have a manual in the box. So to get more information about all of these, I gotta look this junk up, right? You gotta hit this thing and say, hey, instead of having individual question marks here, or at least the description under there, it took me a second to hit this, to realize I had to hit this question mark to find out about it, right? And come on, do better, Lenovo, do better. So it's not a good, it's not a bad, it's just thanks but no thanks. Now on to the performance, and I'm gonna post these up real quick. So if I'm gonna put, will I put them in a graph? I don't know. I'm gonna post them, and you should be seeing them now. But as you can see in these results, right? I've ran my normal run-of-the-mill Times by Extreme, Port Royal, and then Times by Extreme stress test, and then I also do a Shadow with a Tomb Raider real world run, right? For Times by Extreme, as you can see in the results, because of that difference in max power out, you can see the performance of the laptops with the higher max graphical power out affected performance in comparison to other like models with lower power output, right? It is what it is, you know. For the G14, which was a 3060 Max Q, which they're not calling Max Q, but we know what it is when we look in the settings, 3708. G15, which is a 3070 Max Q, 4115. M15R5, a 3070 at 125 watts, 4882. M15R4 3070 at 140 watts, 5131. And then Lenovo Legion 5 Pro beat them all out, but beat the R4 by a tad bit because it had that same power out in the 3070 chip, 5249. So it was only like a 1% difference between the R4 and then which had the Intel chip, and then the Legion 5 Pro, which has the Ryzen 7, not even a Ryzen 9. So go figure. But as you can see, overall, the power out is extremely useful. So when you're shopping for these laptops and it says it has a 3070 in there, go to the website and find out how much power out is that 3070 is. Go online and look to see if it's actually a Max Q. Because if you go in the settings and I've shown it to you before, but if you go into the NVIDIA control panel settings and then support, it'll tell you exactly if it's a Max Q, or it'll tell you with the power out. Now, obviously, with these, you know, you can't get your hands on these, so you kind of got to look online and then trust what you hear online, or wait for a review to come out like me. And I've already told you it's 140 watts, and it shows here. Now, with Port Royal, which is a ray tracing test, again, you can see in the results the performance is on par with the M15R4, which has the same max power out of 140 watts. It was literally just over 1% difference. And remember, the R4 and R5, the difference between this and the R4 or R5 is about $500 to $600 more, and technically, I'm saying technically, has a faster processor. That's debatable though, especially with the R5, having that Ryzen 9 in it. So yes, this is just a test, but you can see there's some disparity there with the G14. And again, I'm just throwing the G14 in there. It's like the little brother watching big brothers play. But I'm throwing the G14 in there because it's a popular computer. don't get me wrong. So if you want to see the performance comparison between a 3060 Max Q and head to head with the big boys, I'm doing it for you guys out there that's trying to decide between those computers. So G14 scored a 4503, G15 scored a 4981, M15R5 scored a 5886, the R4 scored a 6391, and then again, a 1% difference increase with the Legion 5 Pro 6478 for the Port Royal ray tracing test. So again, out of all of these laptops, especially the ones that are 3070s and not the Max Q versions, Legion 5 Pro is $500 cheaper than both the R5 and the R4. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. For the Time Spy Extreme Stress Test, again, it passed, and the CPU and GPU temperatures were about the same. And again, it is a test, so can these companies kind of modify their software so it can run a certain way to get good, decent results out of the test, but still keep the temps down? It sure does look that way, because the G15, G14, R4, R5, and the Legion 5 Pro, all of the ones I've tested since I've started running 3D Mark, have almost the exact same range in CPU and GPU temperatures of 70 to 75 degrees or somewhere in there. So I'm kind of getting a little bit suspicious about that. Just a tad bit. Moving on, in Shadow the Tomb Raider, which is a real world test, again, a real world scenario has to pull out the best of these computers and then make them work like they want to work. It seems to be again on par with the R4, but behind the R5 because of the screen resolution. But for the purpose of this review, I wanted to see how it would match up if I was to drop this screen down to the same 1080p that the R5 had. So they're both Ryzen chips. One's a Ryzen 9, one's a Ryzen 7. This one being a Ryzen 7. $500 difference between this and the R5. This one is $500 cheaper. This has I'll talk about that later, but again, I'll show the results up here, but I'll just compare between this and the R5 if you guys are thinking about it, right? R5 with RTX on, 74 frames per second. RTX off, 111 frames per second. And that was at 1080p. And when I run these tests, I always run them at ultra. Always run them at ultra. With the Legion 5 Pro at 1080p, it ran at 85 frames per second, which was 11 frames higher than the R5. And with RTX off, it dipped a little bit at 105 frames per second. But for that game, anything over 60 is outstanding. So it is what it is. I also ran it at 1600p, as we can call it, 1600. With RTX on, 56 frames per second, still highly respectable. And RTX off, definitely respectable, 85 frames per second. And you can see the results for the G14, G15, R4, and also the M15 R4 on the screen. So this thing is holding its own and beating these other laptops. Why? What do you think why? Because of the power out of that chip. So that's it for the performance. And again, I added that to appease some folks. But this is a consumer review, and I don't get that deep into the technical details. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other channels with that info. And I'm not shooing y'all away, but because I'm the same way, I like to see deep technical details too. I just don't like to do them. Anyway, if you want to see gaming action, the stuff that you really want to see, I'm going to put some of that at the end of this video with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Red Dead, Horizon Zero Dawn, NBA 2K, and maybe Madden. Maybe. But that's it for the performance. Now on to my concerns. Concern area, and I'm not going to rank these concern number 1, concern number 2, just in general. If you heard me earlier, you know I did have some trust issues last year with Lenovo, with my screen issue, with the white spot being down there, but I was willing to try again. Now I feel a little better about the quality of this product, but I still don't trust the customer service fully, right? Some people rave about them, but again, every customer is different, and it depends on the experience that they had, right? Because somebody's going to comment in here, oh, it's the best in the business. Somebody's going to come in here and say they're shitty as hell because they didn't replace my laptop. I dropped down a ladder well. It's not covered under warranty. Anyway, I decided to send it back, but I did have to tap them on the shoulder twice, meaning send them a couple emails to get them to push me a label to return this thing. So there was a tad bit of concern there, right? Next, the hinge. Even though the hinge seems tight, there were some earlier complaints of the hinge design with some failures on the 7i from last year. But this one is made differently, at least from the outside. From a recent history standpoint, I'd be concerned about whether they address it or not, or will wear and tear over time kill it or make it come apart. It started coming apart like right at the edge here. And you can go to Reddit and see some videos or some pics of that. All right. As you can see, I'm still a little bit in my feelings about that bright spot, but just know that this was the very first video that I had done on YouTube, right? That bright spot video that I had is my very first video. And I'm not BSing with y'all, right? I was so hot, I recorded a video and posted it on YouTube just to try to, I don't know, I wasn't trying to put them out there, but I just wanted other people to see it, other people to know what I was going through. That's all I was doing. But I don't think if I posted that video, I'd still be doing any review videos, because at that time I wasn't even thinking about doing review videos. Go figure. So thanks, Lenovo. Yeah, thanks. Recommendation. So do I recommend the Legion 5 Pro overall? Man, look, without a doubt, a definite yes. It's at the right price, which you can probably get a discount on soon. Right? I didn't ask because I don't think they're like Dell, but I didn't ask, but I was able to get a military discount, so I got lucky. But they are good at having various codes and going on sale a lot like Dell. So if you do like this computer and you want to get one, just wait them out a little bit. Wait till the fall or the holidays, and then they'll be throwing codes out left and right. So again, maybe it's a little bit too early for this model to get a code, but as the year as the year goes on, I'd expect them to start going on sale. But a definite recommendation. The performance is great. I like the design, the Kobe symbol on the hood. I wish I could change that thing to purple. I didn't mention that you can't change the color. You can only turn it on and off, but you can't change the color. But again, I think they reserved that for the 7 line, right? But turning that thing to purple would be nasty, just nasty. If you was a Laker fan, I'm not a Laker fan, right? I'm from New Orleans, so I'm a Pelicans fan. Unfortunately, I got to stick with the home team. Anyway, the screen is great, but while not buttery smooth, still fire, still crisp, and to me, because of that brightness, it's almost on a 4K level because it's bright and the pixel density is outstanding. You get enough RAM so you can game without issues and upgrade when needed, and they give you a ton of storage, which I think no other company is trying to do. No other company is trying to hand you 2 terabytes on their entry model. I don't care how cheap the high Jinx or high Sync or Sky Sync hard drives are in here are. I don't care. Because remember, they still have that 7 line that's going to be on sale soon enough. So I can't wait till that comes out and see the changes between this one and that one, and the upgrades between this one and that one. Anyway, this is a definite recommendation for those that want to save a few dollars and your budget is like $2,000 and you're thinking about that R4, R5 and this one. Because again, right, R4 and R5 used to be top tier, right? I say peer, I'm in the Navy, right? Used to be top tier. But because of that X line coming out, and you have the R3 still on sale, the R4 on sale, the R5 on sale, the R6 on sale, I think they knocked that Ryzen one down a little bit. They stuffed the Ryzen 9 in there to make it seem like it's worthy, but again, I just wish it performed better than it was. Anyway, now I will do a comparison video between this one and the R5, right? So that's coming soon enough, but definite recommendation for this computer, because if you get it on sale, you're gonna be happy with it, right? But be mindful, because you can't get this in the store. This is a big boy. This is a 16-inch screen. So those that don't want to game with external monitors, you have a bigger screen right here that's good enough, and that's crisp enough for you to get some good gaming in there. Anyway, with that, that's all I have, folks. As usual, I'll put some short play game clips at the end so you can see it in action in real world, included with the fan noise. But if you have any questions, hit me in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Once again, this is DT 2.0. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Impossible. I can't carry anymore.
This is running at 1600p. You may not be able to see it, it may not translate, but it's crisp as hell. Again, almost on par with OLED, but again, you already know how that OLED shines a little, just a tad bit brighter. Let me get them J's.
Climb out of here.
Get them J's off you. Debo style.
Let's head out. Ain't sure what we're gonna find out here, Dutch. We have to try. Stay close. We'll do our best to stick to the trail. This goddamn weather. Been 2 days or more like this now. Oh, it has to blow over soon. Careful over this bridge here.
Now, I see it's at 44 frames per second, but you have to realize I have everything at max, and this game is taxing as hell. Anyway, let's get back to it. And plus, this snow in here, when I try to run this on any other computer, especially my Aurora R10, and try to run it at 4K, hell, try to run it at 1440p, it kills it. So this computer is still doing a good job. As you can see when I pause it, it goes back up to 165, but back into the action, even though it's running at 46 frames per second, it doesn't seem like it. Because it still seems smooth as I move the camera
I
around.
can't believe we lost Davey too. He's the last one, Arthur. No more. We need to get those people.
Obviously, if you want better frames, you can lower the performance just like you would do with any other game.
Pinkerton's tailing us in this. A couple more days, we'll be on the other side.
But this game looks
You
spectacular.
need to help me get the others back up.
The camera doesn't do it any justice.
I can rely on to stay strong right now. We got fire and shelter. That's a start. Hey, I think I see something up the path. You up ahead. Who's there? Micah. Gentlemen. Found anything?
Anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into it. Next game.
Okay.
I'm going to get killed right fast, but again, 82 frames per second. Everything is on max.
Acting as guards. The Eclipse and corrupted machines. Cooperating. One happy family. Eclipse, just like you said.
Fortune built the operation, but not the ancients buried in the ground. It's her! Night comes. Nope. Battle gonna be key. They didn't get one there, but you get the feeling they keep making plays like that, they might just get a few.
Yeah, once you get it going, defensive teams they come in bunches.
And he is going to have a Saints first down as they're able to get the third down conversion. Breeze on the hook up to Thomas for the New Orleans first. 40-yard line. Breeze on the draw, gives to Kamara. He'll take this from the 40 up to the 45 for a gain of 5. The first down run got 5. Here's 2nd and 5.
All right, Brad, I know we're in the early going here, but those kind of runs, they're going to open up a world of opportunities for this offense going forward.
And the catch made. This is Emmanuel Sanders. That's good.
But one of the ways that quarterbacks keep all the receivers alive in a play, never lock in on any one guy. Make sure you keep your eyes moving, scan the field, and here he finds the open guy. For a nice pickup.
And he works it past the 30, almost to the 25.
Gotta get one touchdown in.
Around a first down as well.
First down. First and 10 at the 20.
Off the play fake to
Blitz.
Kamara. It's Breeze. He's going to go up top.
Oh.
And that's going to be incomplete. Too tough to hold on to that one. It's 2nd down. 2nd and 10 now from the 27. Again, it's Breeze. Letting one go deep for the end zone. And nearly an interception here on their opening drive. But instead, 3rd down.
Xavier Howard on the call.
Play action. Breeze. Take it into the end zone for the Saints.
Can't check Michael Thomas. It's not an exaggeration.
Thomas, 27 yards. And the Saints take it right down the field and score on the opening drive. They gotta love that 9-play drive.
One thing about Madden is you can tell because the crowd takes a whole lot of